Hello everyone, welcome back to American Truck Simulator. I'm Martin Wenzel. We're in Duluth, Minnesota at the Peterbilt dealership. We did the 34-hour. We've also spent a little bit more time so we can get on to a daylight driving schedule and just looking for the right first job in this new Peterbilt 389. There she is. I just want to take a quick look at what our hired driver is doing. And this is something that's going to happen to you. I don't know if this happens under a vanilla economy, but it does happen with Klaas's economy mod. Where am I looking? Driver manager, there we are. You can see her profit right now. I don't know why it's in kilometers, but it is negative $5.20 per kilometer. So not really working out so far, but let's take a look at the log and see what's actually happening. It's this right here. That first job, it's always used packaging. It's always, I believe, Phoenix to Flagstaff, and it's always a loser. I do not know why. You always lose about $4,000 on that first job with your hired worker with Klaas's economy mod, but after that, she starts making money. So it's going to take her a while to make up that, but we could say that's the insurance costs and all the other stuff that when you hire a new driver, you're putting a lot of money into them if not training them and all that stuff. So we'll take that as a little bit of a hit. We got the money still, but suddenly we're under $300,000, but that will be coming back quickly as she gets going. She's right now bouncing. And what I notice again with hired workers, and I usually don't have a ton of hired workers playing this game, is that they tend to go garage to a place, to the place, back to the garage, to a garage to the place. And I think it might be simply because of the distance, but hopefully once we get her up that she can do some long jobs, she won't just be going back and forth. And hopefully in the future, if that's the case, hopefully the game changes that algorithm and makes it that your hired workers can drive to different locations and not just back and forth between the garage and their delivery point. So it's 3:15, we finished the pre-trip. This is gonna be the first trip in the new Peterbilt. Zero mileage on this truck. I don't think you'll ever buy a new vehicle that has zero mileage on it because they still are driving it around a little bit, test driving, moving around, but for game purposes it starts with zero. Every truck you get, you can't buy used trucks. So this is our second truck. Well, this is actually probably our third or fourth, probably our fourth truck we've had in this profile. We gotta turn the lights on. There we go. And yeah, we're gonna see if we can get to 100,000 on this truck. We almost got to 100,000 on the Kenny back there. 99,000, I believe 500 or so miles. Naomi's probably gone over the 100,000 mark after her first 3 jobs. We didn't turn on our blinker. We're going to be picking up a job. I cannot see the traffic light at all. That visor, that might become an issue. We're going to be picking up a job taking another piece of military hardware. We're going to be taking it over to some city in Quebec. And it's got a nice gnarly French name. And once we pick up the load, we'll be able to see where it's going exactly. I think it's that right there. 1,575 miles is going to take us 32 hours, so it's going to be a pretty long job going up to Sept Isles, Quebec. And actually, it's going to be a different vehicle. Not that MATV, that's going to Cheyenne. We're going to go east. We're going to go to the eastern side and Canada. It's a HIMARS, 24,000 pounds. Let's go get it. Alright, let's head out to... already forgot what it's called. Sept Isles, Quebec. Really narrow exit points at the cat. Alright, there we go. Alright, I hope the audio on my end isn't too messed up. I do have the fan going, blowing on me. It is getting hot and humid here in Jenda, China. But haven't yet busted out the air conditioning. You know, I'm actually guessing I'm probably not supposed to drive. That was probably a detour, and I just drove on the grass, as some people do in American Truck Simulator to avoid those detours. Oh, what is going on here? Yeah, it's kind of weird with that sun visor. That's gonna take some getting used to because it blocks a lot of the view. There's another one. Maybe it actually is a solid detour. We're not supposed to be going this way, but maybe not. I think we could drive past that in the emergency lane. So I think we're going to be headed up to Thunder Bay. We're going to be going around Lake Superior, around the north side, and then basically just follow the Great Lakes all the way over to Sept Isles. There's another set of... God, there are a lot of police and flashing lights out here on... not sure what highway this is at this point. I did grow up in northern Wisconsin, but Duluth is Minnesota, so I'm not sure once you get to Duluth. I know US 53 goes to Superior, and I think it goes into Duluth, so we might be on US 53. That's not US 2. 2 will go across the north part of Wisconsin and back into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And we're pretty soon going to be entering into Canada. Alright, so we got the temperature at 63 degrees. We have our speed. I think the two numbers is either we have the speed and then there's the... Oh, okay, that's our mileage. That's our trip mileage and then our overall mileage. And they're exactly the same at this point because we haven't reset the trip mileage. And then I think that above the temperature in the left in the RPM gauge there, the tachometer, it says 1H. I think that means 1 hour, so that's the amount of engine time and the engine's been run. We'll see if how that goes. I would think that should flip now to, it should be about 2 hours at this point, but well, maybe, yeah, we'll give it until about 5:15, 5:30. It'll probably flip to 2 hours. Yep, there it goes. So we've had 2 hours of the engine running, 85 miles on this guy, and we have a beautiful sunrise here in northern Minnesota, just off of Lake Superior. Lake Superior off to our right hand. Can't see it, but it's over there. our fuel economy better in this truck than in the Kenworth. Trip economy is 6.1. The Kenworth, I'll have to take that back. I hadn't reset the fuel mileage the fuel mileage in a long time, and so that was including some pretty heavy hauls, some pretty steep grades, going over some steep hills in the Rockies and New Mexico, Arizona, California. So we might have been getting decent mileage, but right here we're cruising at 70 miles per hour. We're hauling 24,000 pounds, so not a full load, and we're getting 7.5 miles per gallon. That's pretty good fuel mileage, especially for a truck that is not designed as aerodynamically as more of the modern stuff. But if you're getting around 7.5 miles per gallon, you're doing pretty good. That's what I like with this dashboard set, because it does have that instant mileage. It also has the trip economy, so you can kind of judge what it is overall. If you can leave that trip economy going for the whole time, you just see the life of the truck, where the fuel economy is, or over a trip, because it's gonna go back and forth. Right now we're 7.5. We're not really doing too much of a climb or driving excessively fast. 70 is pretty good pace. You can see as we're going down a little bit of a grade there, we let off. The truck doesn't have to work as hard. The mileage switches, and now the mileage is going down as we're climbing back up this little grade. So I think we're getting pretty close to Canada. I haven't seen a sign. We haven't crossed a border checkpoint. It's gonna be pretty soon. I think it's right there where those rest areas are. We've been driving almost 3 hours now. I might take the half-hour break right here at the checkpoint. Get that out of the way. That will let us run another solid 8 hours. A couple drives ago, I did take 2 breaks, and in reality, 2 breaks are not totally out of the question. Listen to that Jake brake. Wow. Definitely a different sound. Yeah, it makes it a little bit harder to see further down in the distance especially when you're coming down a grade with that this angry sun visor. We're gonna get all the way over, pull in, and we've actually moved into Eastern time. Whoa, let's slow down so we don't knock the crap out of the suspension. And here we are. I think, I'm not sure we have to pay a toll or anything. Nope, just gotta check us. And there goes the gate. I'm gonna pull over here. We're gonna take our half-hour break. Knock that out. Don't hit the curb. Alright, so I'll see you around 8 o'clock Eastern time. Alright, welcome back. Let's get going. Look at that traffic jam on the southbound side. Everyone trying to get into America. Heavy traffic. Not so much coming into Canada, but look at this. This is going back a long way. I've never seen so much traffic in American Truck Simulator anywhere. It'd be pretty cool if they could simulate that in like a Los Angeles or the major city areas, traffic jam like that. be a little frustrating in the truck itself, but be very realistic. This is, I'm not sure what kind of highway this is. It looks like 61. Not exactly sure. Speed limit is 100 kilometers per hour, which is roughly 62 miles per hour. To see how much is all new area. I know I've been up to Thunder Bay, and you can see we've discovered the highway, many of the highways in this area, but definitely have not been out to Quebec. Yeah, it is interesting. This truck just feels so much smaller in this view than the Kenworth. Part of that, I think, is that sun shield. It really makes it a little claustrophobic. So I don't know if I'm in love with that sun shield. Might move on to just go back to the standard. I tend to like to have a wide view of what's going on outside of whatever vehicle I'm driving. I do love this dashboard, though. It's got so many more. It's the same with the Kenworth 900, W900. It's got many more gauges. I don't know how to read them all at this point. It's kind of a little hard to see them all. And we got to pull in. I wish there was a way to turn off the messages. Maybe if you don't have this stuff on at all, it won't show you that. But I like to have this, the little bottom bar, so I can see what time it is, but it'd be nice if you could tell it to not have the way station thing come up. Oh, that Jake brake. And let's see what we weigh. We should actually be pretty good. We do have a full tank of fuel, 300 gallons. 57,960 pounds. We are carrying relatively light cargo, only 25,000 pounds. .71 degrees now as the sun gets a little bit higher in the sky. A lot cooler though than the southwest and where we were coming from. Jackpot, Nevada was the end of the last episode, and I think it was in the high 80s and low 90s. Obviously, we're a lot further north. A little bit cooler, but definitely comfortable. 71 degrees. Nice spring, early summer temperatures. Whoa, big hill. That was a big hill. Didn't gain any speed though, so I'm not sure if there's an automatic retarder or what, but we had the cruise control set and it's stuck at 62 miles per hour. It did not gain any speed there. I've been on hills before, and obviously you just gain speed. There's nothing. The way you drive a hill in a truck is, as I've learned it so far from studying, it's you brake until you press the brakes until you're 5 miles per hour below your safe descending speed. So if you choose that, it's like, okay, I'm going to descend at 55 miles per hour. You want to brake until you're to 50 miles per hour. Then you release the brake. That lets them cool off. You don't want to just be holding the brake the whole way because you're going to burn out your brakes. And you let the truck come back and gain that speed back to 55 miles per hour. Then you apply the brake, get back down to 50, release, let it slide back up to 55 as it goes down and gain speed. Apply the brake again, get it back down to 50, and repeat until you're to the bottom of the hill. And hopefully you do not lose your brakes, and if you lose your brakes, then you have to find that escape ramp and hope for the best. That's a scary situation. That's that's one of those things wow, I can't even imagine it at this point. Like, what you got to know what you have to do. And that's a big thing. It's the same thing with airline pilots, everything. It's like knowing the procedures, knowing what to do in a situation like that. And being able to do it when you start panicking. You can't panic. You got to know, okay, this is what I got to do, and you do it. And sometimes I'm a little worried about that because I panic even in a simulator like this. X-plane, something goes wrong, and then I start panicking, and it gets really bad really quick. Now, that 8H down there, I thought that was the hours of the engine. It's getting a little weird though, because we've started driving at 3 a.m. Central Time, so that'd be 4 a.m. Eastern Time. It'll only be 7 hours, but we got 8 hours on that little display. Oh, I thought that was gonna be I thought I was gonna flip the trailer there. I thought that was a really tight turn. I was going a little too fast, but just turned it, held the wheel, and it went. So a little bit feels like a little bit more stable of a base on this truck. It is a longer tractor. Yeah, so that hour number, or what I'm assuming is the hour number, should stay at 8, even though it gets past 12. Because we started at 4 Eastern Time, but it's saying it's displaying like we started at 2. So I don't know what's going on with that. Not entirely accurate. Keeping that in mind, we started 4 a.m. Eastern Time. We can drive until 6 p.m. or we can be on duty until 6 p.m. We still have to do the 11 hours of drive time. We've put in about another 4 hours driving. We got driving again at 8. So we're almost up to 7 hours driving. So we can drive, if we drive straight through, we can drive until 4 p.m. If we take a break, we'll adjust that final time accordingly. Long trip today, a long delivery. Probably by the time we finish this day, we'll still have 2 days of travel. The ETA is getting down to about 24 25 hours, just under 25 hours. So we should be getting there probably Thursday, I would think, and we need to be there by Friday. That's why you don't want to be driving too close. That's a big thing. As a driver of any vehicle, you need to be leaving that space in front of you, the proper amount of space. Semi-truck, a fully loaded semi-truck, I think that's what it is, fully loaded. It takes a football, it takes the length of a football field to come to a stop. That's 100 yards. That's a pretty big distance. That's about a 4 or 5. It only takes about 4 or 5 seconds for a truck to travel that distance too, so you want to maintain, I believe it's 5 seconds. In a car, you usually maintain 4 seconds of space with the car in front of you or the vehicle in front of you. In a semi-truck, you want to maintain, I think it's 5 seconds for a 40-foot vehicle. We're obviously driving a 70-foot because we got the 53-foot trailer, and then the tractor, I believe we would be classified as 70-foot. I think for every 10 feet you add a second. So 50 or 5 seconds for a 40-foot, 70 seconds. You want to leave about 8 seconds, or 70 feet. You want to leave about 8 seconds of time between you and the truck in front of you or the vehicle in front of you. And right now we have a really good following distance at this point. But as we came up on that little traffic stop, we had to hit the brakes pretty hard. We were slowing down, but we were a little bit too close, and so when he kept hitting his brakes and was slowing down more and more, we couldn't see what was in front of him. Luckily, we were able to, the service brakes and the Jake brake, the engine brake, we were able to get slowed up enough. We're on Highway 11. I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure what kind of highway this is. I don't know the symbol. If this is a Manitoba highway. I think we're in Manitoba. No, maybe not. We might be in Ontario. right, so that was just Hearst, I believe. I think we're in Ontario, Hearst, Ontario, and we're gonna be shooting for Iroquois Falls as our stop point. But there is a rest area and gas station. It's not the ideal place to stop, but if we need to, if we get close to 4 o'clock and we're not gonna make it to Iroquois Falls, that's gonna be our destination. I'm trying to hit Iroquois Falls, but we might need to hit that earlier rest area in an hour and 45 minutes. Having a good day driving. I think we should be able to hit about 650 miles. Alright, we're about halfway between Hearst and that rest area, and it looks increasingly like it took us about an hour to get to this halfway point. It looks like we're going to have to stop at that rest area, not Iroquois Falls. If we try to push on Iroquois Falls, we will be running over our driving time limit, which we have done a few too many times in recent episodes and the past week or so. We've gone over the 70, we've gone over the 14, we've gone over the 11, and we do not want to keep doing that. We don't want to make a habit of it. So the goal is to get to that gas station, and even that might be pushing it. But I think we should be able to make it. I think. Let's see. It's hard to tell. The GPS doesn't give us the in-game GPS here does not give us distances to our waypoints. It'd be nice if you could say, hey, what's the distance from here to the place I put my waypoint? Because it tells us the distance to our final destination, but I need to know how far it is to where we want to take our break for the night, so we can determine if we can make it. The truck is telling me we've been driving this truck for 14 hours. It's been more like 13. Or not 13, 11, almost 12 once we park this guy, but it's got its own arithmetic, I guess. Yep, the right decision will be to stop at this rest area. We do not need to get fuel. We do have that nice big 300-gallon fuel tank. Yeah, there's a lot of trees. Look at that. Just a complete wall of forest around us. Let's get parked. Loving the new, loving the sounds I'm hearing from this truck. That Jake brake. I think that Jake brake sound is, again, one of my mods is the Jake brake mod, sound mod. I can't even remember what it sounded like without the mod, and maybe that's something I got to do in the future is just test things out and say, hey, what is this mod exactly doing? What is it giving me? Is it worth it? And can I park this guy straight? And we're gonna say, yeah, we'll go there. We're over the little hump. It's not what we should be. Got our nice Minnesota license plate. We got our, what is that called? HIMARS. And here we are in between Hearst and Iroquois Falls, Ontario. It's 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Alright, and checking out the log, we started at 2 a.m. Mountain Time in Duluth, Minnesota. It was 3 Central Time. We've now moved into Eastern Time, so our log will be 2 hours behind in time for Mountain Time. We drove for 3 hours, took a break at the border, then drove another 7 hours and 45 minutes to arrive here. That gives us a total of 10 hours, 45 minutes. We got 15 minutes remaining on that 11, and a total duty day of 11 hours. We only had that 15 minutes of on-duty time for doing the pre-trip, so an 11-hour day on our Fresh 70. And we did 609 miles. So until next time, please like the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and have fun trucking. Goodbye.